There are almost 8 billion people on the planet. That's a lot of human beings. But how much humanity? How much mercy? How much forgiveness? Islam is all about mercy. Allah says about the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and his mission, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We have not sent you, O Muhammad ﷺ, except as a mercy to the worlds, as a mercy to mankind, as a mercy to humanity. The Prophet ﷺ says, the merciful will show you mercy. When you show mercy to those on this planet, or those on this earth, the one above the heavens, the most merciful will show you mercy. So be merciful. Muhammad Ali said, service to others is the rent which you pay on this earth. You're a human being chosen by Allah, different than all of His creation. Allah chose us and gave us dignity, gave us value, esteem, honor. And of course, all honor and praise belongs to Allah. But He chose us amongst His creation and made us different and unique. And part of that difference is that we are accountable, that we have will, that we're held responsible, that we have choice. And thus responsibility. We have power and we have responsibility. How can you see a homeless person and say nothing, do nothing, and feel nothing? How can you see someone hungry and not feed them? How can you see people in cages and not feel anything? How can you see war and not think about it? Number 2, Islam is all about justice. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين بالقسط شهداء لله ولو على أنفسكم أو الوالدين والأقربين إن يكن غنيا أو فقيرا فالله أولى بهما فلا تتبعوا الهوى أن تعدلوا وإن تلووا أو تعرضوا فإن الله كان بما تعملون خبيرا. O you have believed, be persistent, consistent in standing up for justice. Witnesses for Allah, even if it be against your own selves. So justice isn't my way, my people, my family, my lifestyle, my name, my reputation, my career. Justice is objective, and Allah decides what's right and what's wrong, what's moral, what's immoral. So if we live in times where things are all subjective in people's eyes, and that morality is whatever you feel like doing. Just be you, just do you. Just be yourself, just have fun, whatever makes you happy, just do it. These are slogans of our times, right? That are wrong with you on justice, are wrong with you on morality, even if they may be said with good intention, right? It's very common for parents to tell their kids or teachers to tell their students, whatever makes you happy, just do it. Right? But we know that Islam has a whole basis, a whole framework for morality and justice. That in the end it's objective and that Allah decides ultimately what's right and what's wrong, not to follow our own desires. And that is saying, even if it be against your own selves, justice isn't just how you feel, what makes you right or what sounds good. It could be that you're on the wrong side and you have to rectify yourself, and then your family and society. So we have a purpose in life. The Prophet ﷺ says in another hadith that every human being has rights, the basic rights of food, shelter, clothing, bread, water, a home. This hadith outlines the human's basic needs and encourages us and now requires us to take care of each other. Because if you have this framework, if you know that the Islamic economic model, the Islamic model on community includes looking out for people's basic needs, and it's not that tough to make sure that everybody has food, shelter, and clothing. It isn't that tough if that's your priority. You know that there's a responsibility. The Prophet is telling us there is a way, that there is a vision you can have for your community and society that's very attainable, but it's huge. Because if you don't have food, shelter, and clothing, are you really going to come to the masjid and pray? Maybe not. Or you can listen to somebody when they tell you about Allah and the Day of Judgment. Essential, basic beliefs that every human being needs to know. It's our duty to convey this to the rest of the world. But if they're starving, every year millions of people die of hunger, but also millions of people die of diseases that could be related to overeating, such as heart diseases and diabetes and so on. I'm not here to point the finger at anyone who might be suffering from an illness, but just notice that in certain countries people are suffering from overeating, in other countries people suffer from not having enough food. So it's not a problem of resources. Allah gave us a planet full of resources, full of blessings. It's really our mindset and our priorities. It's a matter of distribution, not a matter of resources. And this all goes back to our faith. And our system of zakat and sadaqah already has this in mind. Because Allah knows us better than we know ourselves, and He knows our community and society and its ills. So we created a system which, if applied correctly, would do good in terms of hunger and poverty. So, the values of mercy and justice. The other point is that it is very common for people that may be maybe born and raised in another country, someone who's an immigrant or a refugee, someone that's been here for a few years, or is more comfortable in other places of the world, which is natural. The country is full of immigrants. But it may be that they might wrestle with an internal conflict, especially if they're kids. And I'm a youth director in Houston, so I deal with this regularly. An identity crisis of what does it mean to be Muslim? What does it mean to be American? Do I belong here? Do I not belong here? Who am I? What am I? And this might even be more important than the values of mercy and justice and so on, because it asks the very, very question of what our purpose in life is and where do we belong and what our relationship is with Allah and society. Possibly could have started with this. But we're going through tough times as a community, I think that's obvious. And in that I'm specifically concerned with the fact that people might not think that we belong in the society or are bullied to think or taught to think that certain people belong here more than others, know that it's plain nonsense. Again, mainly speaking to the youth here. Muhammad Ali is the most famous Muslim American ever. One of the most loved, if not the most loved Americans globally. One of the most loved people in US history. The list goes on. One of the greatest humanitarians of the 20th century. The athlete of the 20th century. One of the top civil rights icons. Again, the list goes on. And of course, this is usually left out of his brand, out of his logo. Everyone talks about him as a boxer and maybe as a, as a racial justice and civil rights. But they forget the fact that he was also a humanitarian and he was one of the top global promoters of Islam and Muslims. And all that encompasses this person. And I talk a lot about him, especially when I speak to the youth, like high schools and colleges. But he said on this topic, when they called him un-American and unpatriotic, and said, we're going to take away your citizenship, which is, of course, plain nonsense. How do you take away someone's citizenship who's been here for 350 years? He has no other country to call home. African Americans have been in this country before the US was the US. Right? Last year, 2019, was exactly 400 years since 1619, the beginning of the group being forced from Northwest Africa into slavery and brought here. And a fraction of them were Muslim, which is another whole discussion. It's beautiful. Those are into history. But he said, when they called him un-American, unpatriotic, he said, I am America. I'm the part that you won't recognize, but get used to me. I'm black, I'm confident, cocky, my name, not yours, my religion, not yours, my goals, my own, get used to me. There may be a few people in the audience that are African American, and the majority of us, and usually my audience, are Desi, Arab, and so on, different parts of the world. So they can relate to a lot of this, even if not all of it. But the principle of being confident in your faith, content with what Allah has given us, and just because people say things doesn't mean it's true. Don't absorb them, and definitely don't pass them on to your kids. It's nonsense to think that you don't belong here just because a certain person or group or a segment of society is unhappy, possibly jealous, whatever the reason is. Allah placed us here for a reason, right? So I didn't want to make it just kind of wanted to sugarcoat it or make it fluffy about identity and this country or that country or the color of your skin or these things matter. But more importantly, when you're put in the grave, it won't matter your skin color or citizenship, what part of the border you're on or what side you're on. It won't matter what masjid you're prayed in. It won't matter what city you are. It won't matter your age. I'm looking at an audience of people that are decades older than me. Probably one of the youngest in the room. Alhamdulillah. What will matter though is your deeds. Your deeds will matter. That's why it's important to recognize the principles of mercy and justice and so on. We'd love to see them applied in the world, but they start with ourselves and our own families. No one can stop you from being you. No one can stop you from being just in your life. No one can stop you from being merciful to others. The same city that said we want to take away your citizenship from Muhammad Ali, of course it's just words that mean nothing. The same city, 50 years later or so, decades later, said we're naming our airport Muhammad Ali International Airport. And as far as I know, not every president of the United States even has an airport named after them. It's huge. But what he did is he stood by his principles. He decided to do what's right regardless of the sacrifice, and he did sacrifice. He did what's right because it's right. He did what's right because he fears Allah and loves Allah, wants to do the right thing, regardless of what society was saying. So if it's tough to be Muslim today, it's been tough before. We have principles that are set in place, we have examples of people before us. Our community may be going through a tough time, here and globally. There are at least two ayahs that I would humbly request that you keep in mind. Allah says, أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون Do people really think that they'll be left alone to say, I believe, and they will not be tried and tested? It's not how it works. It doesn't work that way. Your purpose in life is to submit to Allah, that's Islam. Your purpose in life is to recognize your Creator. It's the most important thing, but it's not enough. Allah is telling you that the process includes being tried and tested. But we're believers, but we're Muslims. Why is this happening to us? Why is it happening to our brothers and sisters around the world? Are they believers? But Allah is saying, you think you're going to say you believe and that you won't be tried and tested? So let's not worry about them, what they're saying and what they're doing. The reality is, that is the world that Allah designed. He designed this as a test for us. And the word fitna comes from purification. The process of purifying rocks and minerals and gold and so on. So through the tests, you become better. And those who are the best get tried the most, as we know. Starting with the prophets. So that can give us a little bit of contentment. It's okay if you're not always happy, right? We're living in a society seeking happiness. Happiness is fleeting. No human being has ever lived and been happy from birth to death. It's impossible. It's not what happiness is. By definition, it's temporary. So how can that be your purpose in life? It's not. To be content with Allah's decree, and to remember that tests are part of the process. In the second ayah, وَلَا تَسْتَوِي الْحَسَنَةُ وَلَا السَّيِّئَةُ ادْفَعْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ عَدَاوَةٌ كَأَنَّهُ وَلِيٌّ حَمِيمٌ. Good deeds and bad deeds cannot be equal. They can't possibly be equal. It doesn't matter what people say. You might live in a society that flips good and evil, or has a wrong understanding of good and evil, or sometimes does things that are evil thinking is good and does things that are good that think that are evil. Or that we might live in a time that the liars are called truthful and the truthful are called liars. It doesn't matter, because the scale is in Allah's hands. Objective morality is with Allah. He said good and bad are not evil, are not equal. It doesn't matter what anybody says. And push with goodness, respond with goodness, react with goodness. Do your best to respond to evil with good. Right? That's next level. That's ihsan. It's not only you're a good person, but even when in tough times, you're good. Be like the flower that when it's crushed, it gives a nice, beautiful smell to the one that crushed it. Nice fragrance. And the ayah goes on to give us good hope. It's not a guaranteed rule, but it gives you hope that you do right for the sake of being right, but there are beautiful stories in that. And it could be that the decision Allah will reward you, and He will, and it can be that in this life you see something beautiful. Either way you do the right thing, but Allah says in this case, it's possible that your worst enemy becomes your friend by responding to evil with good. Allah show us the truth clearly and guide us to following it. Allah bless us to speak the truth even when it's unpopular. Allah grant us justice in our times. Allah make us amongst those who are just even if it be against our own selves and our own families. Allah unite our hearts, bring people together regardless of their backgrounds and their preconceived notions. Allah grant us true freedom and help us to show the world that true freedom comes from submitting to you, O Allah. There's freedom in service and there's freedom in servitude, enslaving to Allah. Allah grant us peace in our times. Allah unite our hearts. Allah makes people of action and not just words. Allah make us sincere ambassadors of Islam Muslims in this country and all over the world. Allah forgive us our sins, have mercy on us, protect us. Allah grant us the best in this life and the best in the hereafter. Protect us from hellfire. Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. طه ما أنزلنا عليك القرآن لتشقى إلا تذكرة لمن يخشى تنزيلا ممن خلق الأرض والسماوات العلى الرحمن على العرش استوى له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وما بينهما وما تحت الثرى وإن تجهر بالقول فإنه يعلم السر وأخفى الله لا إله إلا هو له الأسماء الحسنى وهل أتاك حديث موسى الله أكبر.